Bin from The Independent, giving you the lowdown on which TV shows are binge-worthy and which ones are bin-worthy. This week, we'll be discussing Disney Plus's new Marvel drama, Loki, and the latest season of the modern classic, The Handmaid's Tale.
We've also caught up with BLINDSPOTTIng on Starzplay and Stephen King adaptation Lisey's Story from Apple TV.
And we'll introduce you to our picks of hidden gems we think you should be watching.
Hey Jacob.
Hi Annabel, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. So, let's talk TV. I know you've been watching Loki, which for those of us who aren't super up to date with the MCU, has been a bit mind-boggling. So, do you think you could break it down for us?
I can try, Annabel, I can try. Right, so Loki picks up after Loki's final scene in Avengers Endgame, when he picks up the Tesseract and he disappears. Now, what happens then is Loki is thrown from his timeline, and I've got to say, this is the 2012 version of Loki, and he's hunted down by the TVA, that's the Time Variance Authority, and arrested and put on trial for crimes against the sacred timeline. Now, it's important to note that the TVA are this organisation that have basically been monitoring everything that's been happening in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to date.
Please sign to verify this is everything you've ever said.
This is absurd.
Sign this too.
Not just in the MCU, but also in all these other universes that we don't yet know about, featuring characters dead and alive. And it's really fun because, you know, the God of Mischief, played by Tom Hiddleston, and he's been an antagonist for all the Avengers throughout all the films that he's been in. He's flung into this world where he's, for the first time, kind of like a fish out of water. Everything he's known about his existence and the people who he's been around's existence is thrown into question because everything is predetermined by the TVA. So does that help, Annabelle?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. So Loki is the third of a cornucopia of Marvel TV shows that's going to be released on Disney Plus over the next few years. We've obviously had WandaVision, which was great, and we've had The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was not so great. Loki falls somewhere in the middle for me. Michael Waldron is the showrunner here, and he's had credits on Community and Rick and Morty, and excitingly for Marvel fans, he is actually writing Doctor Strange 2, which is called The Multiverse of Madness. So this show will be setting that up. Directing all 6 episodes is Kate Herron, who's had previous credits on Netflix's Sex Education. So this is a hell of a step up for her.
Okay, thanks for getting us up to speed. I think it makes a bit more sense now. So the big question remains, is it a binge or a bin?
Well, if you'd asked me in 2011, when Hiddleston made his debut as Loki in Kenneth Branagh's Four, and you said to me he's having his own TV show in 10 years' time, you know, whole 6 episodes dedicated to him, I would have asked why. And I kind of am still asking why. However, the whole thing is fun. Seeing Loki within this world, this Terry Gilliam Brazil-esque world, is kind of exciting, and obviously learning about a new side of the MCU that we haven't yet explored is also exciting. If you don't like Marvel films, then it's a bin, whereas WandaVision had this original hook to it that made it watchable. Loki doesn't really have that. It's set up for what's to come. But for Marvel fans, it's easily a binge.
You can trust me.
Loki, I've studied almost every moment of your entire life. You've literally stabbed people in the back like 50 times.
I'd never do it again.
So Annabelle, you've been watching Lisey's Story.
Yes, so another day, another Stephen King adaptation. Lisey's Story is a truthful adaptation of a 2006 bestseller by Stephen King. So Julianne Moore stars as Lisa, Lisey, and she's mourning the death of her husband, played by Clive Owen, who is this big-time famous fantasy author, George R.R. Martin type, who dies. And sooner or later, we find out that things aren't quite what they seem, and she embarks on a bull hunt, which is essentially a scavenger hunt, to find out what exactly. We're not really sure. We're kind of piecing together the puzzle at the same time that she is. It's just a lot of dream sequences and memories and not so scary monsters, and the whole thing is very tiresome.
What is this? Where are we?
The whole thing was produced by J.J. Abrams, obviously the Lost creator, also directed by Pablo Larraín, who was behind the 2016 film Jackie, starring Natalie Portman as Jackie Kennedy. So it was surprising because that film was brilliant, and this Lisey's Story is just obviously not his best. The acting is a highlight. Obviously, Julianne Moore, Academy Award winner, she is superb as always, and so is Joan Allen and Jennifer Jason Leigh, who star as her sisters. Another highlight is Dane DeHaan, who plays this creepy super fan of her husband, and he kind of lends the show some of its more exciting moments. But those exciting moments are just too few and far between to kind of make anyone stick around.
All right, I'm intrigued. Lisey's story, is it a binge or is it a bin?
It's a bin.
Where we went today, was it real? Or was it my imagination?
So UK audiences are finally getting to watch the new season of *Handmaid's Tale*. What did you make of it?
I'm happy to report it's better than ever. I think the thing with The Handmaid's Tale, obviously an adaptation of Margaret Atwood's novel, which has now outgrown the book. You know, it finished covering the book after the first season, and it's now taken on this new lease of life. And I think the thing with that is a lot of people would be like, really? Is there still more story to tell? And the answer is yeah, and they justify that really well. Showrunner Bruce Miller clearly has a vision of where he wants this show to go. And I think if there were any fears that season 3 was stalling somewhat, season 4 really cast any doubt to the wayside that this is actually one of the best shows of the past 5 years. The show's set in what is, you know, America, but it's been taken over by new rulers. It's become a totalitarian state called Gilead, where fertile women, because not a lot of people are fertile in this world anymore, are rounded up and they're handmaids in this awful, awful world.
You came here to fight.
You can't save her. You understand that, right? Some women don't want to be saved.
Season 4, there's a spark of rebellion bubbling under the surface now, and you really do feel like maybe these characters could escape, and the awful things that you see and the awful perpetrators of these awful acts could be overthrown. And I think that is what now, you know, the show needed to do that at this stage, because you can't just make the whole show, you know, a miserable place. You just can't do it and expect people to come back. There's got to be some reprieve. Season 4 is that reprieve. For that reason, I think it is the best season yet. Yeah, and Elizabeth Moss, she directs a few episodes here as well as stars in. I think she's directed a few before, but here she's really putting her imprint on episodes, whereas in previous seasons, I think she was, you know, finding the ropes. So I think all eyes are on the show, and what a time for all eyes to be on it, because it's going from strength to strength.
So, is it a binge or a bin?
It's a massive binge.
I ask for justice.
So, some people will already be familiar with BLINDSPOTTING. The series is a TV adaptation of a film that was released in 2018 and just got such a cult following and amazing reviews. So the movie starred Tony Award winner Daveed Diggs, who also co-wrote the script, as a guy in Oakland on the last few days of his parole, desperate to stay out of trouble, while his kind of knucklehead best friend, a guy called Miles, played by Rafael Casal, who also co-wrote the film with Diggs, has other ideas and kind of pulls him into situations that he's not meant to be in. So BLINDSPOTTING the series is kind of an 8-part expansion of that universe, but instead it focuses on Miles's girlfriend, the character named Ashley, who is only a very minor role in the film, and it kind of tells the story through her eyes.
Do you want me to get you a toothbrush or toiletries?
I'm going to summer camp, baby. I'm going to jail.
I don't know. What is our online banking password?
Baby, I'm not going to yell that on the street. Happy New Year.
This premise is set up pretty quickly. We see Miles going to prison for drug possession, and as a result, Ashley and their young son are forced to move in with Miles's mother, who is played by Academy Award winner Helen Hunt in one of the most surprising castings of the year. This is all kind of set against the backdrop of 2021 Oakland. So there are conversations about race, class, privilege, gentrification going on. But at the same time, the show really remains really funny and kind of lighthearted, in a similar vein to the way Lin-Manuel Miranda's film In the Heights does also. There are dance numbers and musical segments, as well as spoken word performances delivered right down the lens. And these are kind of woven into the series. But I think what's so impressive about it is that they feel really seamless.
I think that's the beauty of the Netflix film as well. I've not seen a series, but after what you've said, I will rush to watch it. It kind of has laughs and like a lot of reprieve. But then when the powerful moments hit, they land even harder because you don't expect them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, I'm definitely not one of those people who loves a musical like La La Land or something like that, but this really managed to draw me in, and I didn't feel like I was being cringed out when they broke into song.
Feel like I know where this is going to go, but binge or bin for blind spotting?
It's definitely a binge.
Wearing pants in the house is stupid, okay? I feel liberated. Okay? I want to feel free at home.
Well, how you feel at work then?
Expensive.
So on Binge or Bin, we like to highlight the films and TV shows that might have escaped your radar over the years. The shows and films you might have been meaning to watch, but you just haven't had the time and then you've forgotten about. So this week, my hidden gem is The Virtues, which is a 4-part British show from 2019, which is available to watch on All 4. It's written and directed by Shane Meadows. He is the director and creator of This Is England, the film and the TV series. And it stars Stephen Graham, who I mentioned last week because of time. He can currently be seen on BBC iPlayer alongside Sean Bean in the Jimmy McGovern prison drama. He really is so great. He's like the British Robert De Niro of our time. Probably the best actor who's not yet ever received an Oscar nomination or a BAFTA film nomination. In this, he plays a recovering alcoholic who slowly starts slipping back into his ways. And he visits his sister in Ireland, who's played by Helen Behan, an absolute newcomer who Shane Meadows just met in a pub and cast in this show, who actually, since the coronavirus pandemic, returned to being a nurse last year. But she's so great as his sister, and you wouldn't know she's a newcomer. She shares scenes with Stephen Graham, like they are actually siblings. Shane Meadows just deals with it like a pro, very sensitively. Music fans will delight in the fact as well that it's scored by PJ Harvey. Stephen Graham, over the years since then, he's been Al Capone in Boardwalk Empire and Line of Duty he's been in since then, and he's capping it off with an appearance in Peaky Blinders, which is coming out next year. If there's anyone out there who hasn't heard of The Virtues, please do check it out. It's an absolutely vital watch.
So my hidden gem this week is Sweet Home, which is available to watch on Netflix. It's a live-action Netflix adaptation based on a hugely popular 2017 webtoon comic that recorded something crazy like 2.1 billion views. And while I've not seen the web series, I can definitely vouch for the adaptation, which is actually the first South Korean series to enter Netflix's top 10 in the US when it was released in 2018. Following a family tragedy, this loner teenage boy moves into an apartment block by himself, and then soon enough people start getting weird nosebleeds and having these strange symptoms, and surprise surprise, they turn into monsters, and not like zombies but like monsters, and the people inside the apartment block trying to survive while at the same time trying to work out exactly what's going on. Is the government involved? What's happening? And it's kind of similar to The Walking Dead in the way that the monsters are really great fuel for storytelling, in the way that they really provide a source of tension and fear. But what really differentiates it, like Walking Dead did so brilliantly, is that it really fleshed out the characters and it gave nuance to the story that you don't normally find in a creature feature. Just a heads up, do not go into Sweet Home expecting realistic monsters. Although the special effects are done by the award-winning studio Legacy Effects, which were previously behind massive budget features such as Game of Thrones and the Avengers, the CGI'd monsters at points can feel a bit silly, especially at the beginning. But I think once you suspend your disbelief and kind of accept it for what it is, Sweet Home is a wild ride from start to finish, ideal for binging.
사람을 해치지 않는 괴물들이 괴물은 괴물일 뿐이야.
Thanks so much for watching Binge or Bin. That's more than enough to keep you occupied until we see you again next time. Like and comment below and subscribe for more from Independent TV.